So we're going to look at two new MPanel production tools that help with getting data in from digitized readings, where the digitized readings come in as a series of arcs, curves or lines. The two tools that we're talking about are in the prepared data, it's convert several curves into a single poly, and then the linked tool to that is to add a mesh between poly edges. And these tools are going to help in converting data across more accurately into meshes that can be panelled, and also in enabling us to use fewer nodes, fewer points in the meshes, which will lead to faster drawings and easier to understand drawings, and also faster panelling. I've taken from this initial boat drawing, I've taken a little bit of it that's going to be made into a single panel, where along the bottom edge we have a line, an arc, another arc. On the top we have a line and an arc, and on the sides we just have arcs. And what we're going to do first of all is convert these into 3D polys, and we need to choose a number of points for the 3D poly which are going to enable the 3D poly to accurately represent the shape. The program will always put in a point exactly at the corners where one curve changes into another, and because of that we don't need as many points to accurately convey the shape as you might think. And I'm going to do this with 21 points on the top and bottom edges. And so here I'm going to select those 3 bottom edges and convert them all into a single poly. And you'll see that even with just 21 points, just looking at the curve here, we have a good representation of the curve, and of course we've caught the corner exactly. I can delete that old one there. I'll do the same with the 2 polys on the top. And for the polys on the end, I could do, which are just single curves, I could do exactly the same, but to be nicest to the program, to give the program the best chance of working out the maths well, since these edges are quite a bit smaller than the long edges, I'll reduce the number of points down in those edges to keep approximately square cells in the mesh. We can run this as convert several curves to a poly, or just to convert curve to a poly, because there is only one curve. So I'll reduce that and reduce that, and then delete the 2 old ones. And so now I have a set of polys in 3D representing the bottom surface, the top surface, the left and the right, and the top and bottom have the same number of points. I'll just turn the points on for a second, and the left and right have the same number of points. And in that condition I can add meshes between 2 or 3 poly edges, 2, 3 or 4 poly edges. Now previously, when we added a mesh between just general edges, which could be arcs or lines, we had to specify the number of points in the X and the Y direction. In this case, when we're adding them on a poly, we do not have to specify that, because we're going to use the poly edges, the points in the poly, to exactly define the points on the mesh. And so I can now just run that tool, add the mesh between 2, 3 or 4 poly edges, select my bottom edge, right edge, top edge and left edge, and the mesh that's been drawn in, you can see exactly captures the corners and accurately covers the arcs as needed. I'll just make a copy of that and then do a standard paneling of this, and we'll just do this into a single panel. delete the old object, and here is the single panel which will fit into the 3D shape defined by this mesh, which was defined by the edges which we started out with.